Good morning. Here is the news at 11 on Premier FM 93.5. First, the headlines. NELFund Board applauds President Tinubu's commitment to student loan financing. APC National Chairman expresses confidence in ongoing reconciliation among party members. President Trump threatens Iran with tougher economic measures. What happened this day in history? Find out in our Lest We Forget segment. Heart of the matter is on federal government's directives on disciplinary action for students involved in kidnapping in tertiary institutions. Do well to track us on www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng, X, Instagram and Facebook at PFM935 Ibadan. I'm Emilia Ojemudia. Now the details of the news. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund Board, has expressed its appreciation to President Bola Tinubu for directing that eligible liquid funds recovered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, be channeled to the fund to support its growing student loan obligations. The board also welcomed the Federal Executive Council's approval for unclaimed dividends from the Capital Market Trust Fund and the Dormant Account Trust Fund to be directed to NELFund. In a statement, the chairman of the board, Mr. Jim Ovia, expressed appreciation to President Tinubu for the continued support and confidence in the fund, noting that the decision further reinforces the administration's commitment to making access to higher education more inclusive and sustainable. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Mr. Abel Enisa as the new head of the Civil Service of the Federation with effect from 27th of this month. This is contained in a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga. According to the statement, Mr. Enisa, who is currently the Permanent Secretary at the Federal Ministry of Education, will succeed Mrs. Didi Walson-Jack, who is due to retire from the Federal Civil Service upon attaining the statutory retirement age of 60. The National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Yelwada, has expressed confidence in the party's ongoing reconciliation process in Oyo State. Professor Yelwada made the remarks in an interview with newsmen in Ibadan, the state capital, shortly after meeting with the Oyo State APC Reconciliation Committee and the leadership of the party in the state. The national chairman said he was happy with the progress made by the Reconciliation Committee and expressed optimism that all grievances would be resolved before the general election.
It's normal for children of the same family to have some little challenges, but it's issues that can settle within the party. And we're happy that the party is still stable.
Reacting to the just concluded Osun State governorship election, Professor Yilwada said the party's leadership was yet to take any position on the outcome of the election.
Opposing the party will involve not just us alone. It will involve the National Working Committee, inviting the candidate and taking the review of what happened in Osun State. They cannot take a position as a party.
Also speaking, the chairman of the Reconciliation Committee in Oyo State, Senator Olufemi Lanlehi, said the committee had a fruitful deliberation with the national chairman and gave an assurance that the party in the state would go to next year's elections as a united body.
We just met the national chairman of the APC and the members of his working committee. They will look into some of the points we've raised, some of the issues raised by the aspirants.
Our correspondent reports that the national chairman is on a 2-day visit to Oyo State and he is also expected to officially launch the party's campaign office today. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Yelwada, has described President Bola Tinubu as the best leader for Nigeria at this time, citing what he described as the president's commitment to the development and progress of the country. Professor Yelwada stated this when he led the national leadership of the party on a courtesy visit to the Olubadno of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, at his palace at Oke Aremo, Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, seeking the monarch's blessing for the re-election of the president and victory for the 2027 governorship candidate of the party in Oyo State, Senator Sharafaddin Ali, and the deputy governorship candidate, Mr. Adesoji Adedeji. The APC national chairman maintained that the ongoing economic projection of President Tinubu would place the country on a stronger path to sustainable growth. In his response, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, commended President Bola Tinubu for approving some projects in Oyo State, including the Ibadan-Ijebu road dualization. On the entourage of the national chairman were the national secretary, Senator Bashir Ajibola, deputy national chairman South, Dr. Ben Nwoye, APC chairman Oyo State Chief Moses Adeyemo, and other party leaders. Now, away from that, the need for parents to model themselves through commitment to sound religious practice and good deeds has been described as the basis for human existence and upbringing of children. This was the submission of an Islamic cleric, Alhaji Nuruddin Basunu, at the 8-day fidao for Alhaja Silifat Abeke Olayiwola at the Uni and Sons area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Alhaji Basunu, who led the fidao, explained that parents were saddled with the responsibility of instilling good religion and behavior in their children to make them better citizens.
My advice to the children of Mama to have good mother, to do good deeds to themselves, to love each other and to hold each other dearly.
Alhaji Basunu called for continuous unity among the children of Alhaja Olayiwola. Children of the deceased who were clad in purple and white attires described their mother as a disciplinarian who nurtured them single-handedly for the past 45 years for the demise of their father.
A pleasant one, caring, loving, our prayer warrior, very articulate.
She was a very caring and loving mother.
She's a wonderful, wonderful grandmother, wonderful great-grandmother to our great-grandchildren.
Alhaja Silifat Abeke Olayiwola, who specialized in cloth trading in Ibadan, is survived by children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and an in-law who is a retired general manager at Radio Nigeria Positive FM, Alhaji Kola Animashaun. You are on to the news at 11 here on Premier FM 93.5 from the stable of Radio Nigeria. We'll be back shortly. We're glad to know you're still there. Now, this day in 1974, first African neurosurgeon and first professor of neurosurgeon in Nigeria, Emmanuel Olatunde Odeku, died. United States President Donald Trump, as we take you to the foreign scene, says that he will launch tougher economic measures against Iran, as well as any country that helps or does business with the country. It comes after a 60 days ceasefire with Iran when it expired, with no sign of a diplomatic or military off-ramp to the conflict. Trump's latest move appears to extend the U.S. campaign of economic pressure launched in April to sanction foreign banks or firms that do business with Tehran. Be the reason for people to smile. Help someone today. And now to heart of the matter, it takes a look at federal government directives on disciplinary action for students involved in kidnapping in tertiary institutions. It is written by an intern from Fountain University, Oshogbo, Osun State, Aliyat Moshood.
Recently, federal government directed vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts across the country to immediately dismiss any student found after due investigation to have been involved in kidnapping or other violent crimes as part of fresh measures to strengthen security across tertiary institutions. Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, also ordered heads of tertiary institutions to strengthen internal intelligence networks and work closely with the Department of State Services and other security agencies to prevent criminal activities within and around campuses. The minister said, although Nigeria's universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education remained largely safe, recent isolated incidents involving students outside campuses underscored the need for stronger intelligence gathering and closer collaboration with security agencies. Beyond security, Dr. Alausa announced that the federal government will support security enhancement projects in tertiary institutions through the Tertiary Education Trust Fund's 2027 intervention program, including perimeter fencing and other critical security infrastructure. The country's tertiary institutions have for some time been targets for large-scale external abductions, such that thousands of students have been affected by armed banditry and ransom-seeking networks. Mass abduction of students cases at Greenfield University of Kaduna State, the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State, and the Federal University of Lafia in Nasarawa State were recorded. What has become practice in recent times shows that criminal elements have successfully recruited active students to serve as informants, providing them with critical insider knowledge on campus security and student movement. A nation already struggling with one of the world's highest numbers of out-of-school children cannot survive a future where classrooms become symbols of fear rather than hope. Teachers become reluctant to work in rural areas as parents begin to see education as a dangerous gamble, while children grow up associating school with violence and uncertainty. Government has a duty to protect innocent citizens and preserve institutions which are centers of learning and excellence. There should be zero tolerance policy, which will serve as a necessary and timeless step to prevent campuses from turning into breeding grounds or safe havens for violent criminals. Nigeria needs to take a cue from countries like China that uses strict criminal prosecution, data-driven policing, comprehensive campus security policies, and robust digital surveillance systems to curb students' involvement in kidnapping. Also, in nations like the United States and the United Kingdom, kidnapping carries sentences ranging from multiple punishments to life imprisonment. Beyond dismissal, it should be stressed that administrative actions must not bypass strict evidence standards to avoid punishing the innocent. School authorities on their part need to improve on their intelligence sharing with the Department of State Services, DSS, and other security agencies to track off-campus criminal networks involving students. Expulsion, which is only an administrative remedy, must be paired with active criminal prosecution, economic stability, and enhanced campus policing to fully address the root causes of rising insecurity.
That script on federal government directives on disciplinary action for students involved in kidnapping in tertiary institutions was written by an intern from Fountain University, Oshubu, Osun State, Aliyat Moshood, and read by Belinda Quadri. So, in the news at 11 on Premier FM 93.5, here again are the day's top stories. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Nelfund Board, has expressed its appreciation to President Bola Tinubu for directing that eligible liquid funds recovered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, be channeled to the fund to support its growing student loan obligations. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Professor Nentawe Yelwada, has expressed confidence in the party's ongoing reconciliation process in Oyo State. And on the foreign scene, we told you that US President Donald Trump has vowed to launch tougher economic measures against Iran, as well as any country that helps or does business with the country. For any information, contact us on these numbers: 0802-334-5292 and 0803-242-9552, or visit us at number 617 Jibo Crescent, Iagonko Quarters, or Oba Adebimpe Road, Old Gbagi, Dugbe, Ibadan. You can also track us on www.ibadan.gov.ng, X, Instagram and Facebook at PFM 935 Ibadan. So end the news at 11. Sorry, that rather ends the news at 11. It was edited by Ulua Kayode Banjo. My name is Emilia Ujimudia. Thanking you for your time. Akojopo Irungi comes up next.